I'm Jeremy Bowen with Varsity Franchising, and I'm a franchise consultant. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the difference between owning your own business as a startup and owning your own business as a franchise. So let's start with the obvious aspects. Number one, if you own a startup, you have to be the subject matter expert. You have to know everything from the very, very low part of the business all the way up to the very, very high 30,000 foot finances and everything in between. A lot of times you're wearing every single one of those hats as well. So not only are you running a business, you're also creating a job for yourself. Now, you also have to go out and you have to determine what client relationship you're going to have, what type of clients you have to go after. You're going to do a lot of trial and error. You're also going to develop those supplier relationships and vendor relationships. Not only going out and trying to create a presence in the community, and you're going to be starting from scratch. Nobody's going to know your brand day one. It's a lot of work. As somebody who's done it myself, I've been successful at it. And I very much enjoyed what I did, and there were benefits there that I could definitely get in front of. But there's also a reason that I got into franchising after I had started my own business several times, is once I got into franchising, I understood the value of the model. I understood that I can go out there and pick the role that I want to play, and I have support that's going to come in and they're going to help me determine what do I need to do next? Where do I need to hire? They tell me exactly where to find my next hire. They also tell me where to look to find the ideal candidates. They've done all of this before. Somebody else has already made all of those mistakes, and they've made this efficient. Now, not only that, we create economies of scale through franchising. So even if you only have 5 or 10 franchises, with 5 or 10 franchises being able to pool their money together and their resources together and their knowledge together, you can build something that's greater than one single entity can do when working with a startup. It's not built to do that when you do a startup. It's built for you to try to figure it out. Now, once you have those economies of scale, all of a sudden you can do some really cool things. You can all of a sudden get national accounts. Maybe not with 5 or 10 franchises in a system, but if you get up to 50, 100, 150, you absolutely can go out there and start working on national accounts. So as soon as somebody walks into a big name box store and says, hey, I need a fence built, then all of a sudden they have a fencing company on record. More than likely, it's going to be a franchise. And they know it's going to be a consistent value and it's going to be a consistent product that comes out. And so a lot of those efficiencies are already built in. The economies of scale are already built in. Let's not even talk about how to scale. Franchises know how to scale. They've already gone from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 10, from 10 to 30, from 30 to 50, to wherever they are today, and they may be at 300. The difference is owning your own startup. When you start talking about scaling, then all of a sudden you're going, okay, well, are we going to start a new location, or are we just going to add more customers? What is that going to look like? Now, don't get me wrong. The autonomy of being the dictator is wonderful. Everybody loves a dictator as long as they're the dictator. However, when you start talking about franchising, you have to give that role up. There are some trade-offs. You're going to have to give up a little bit of autonomy. You're not going to have quite so much freedom when you play within the rules. You're not going to be able to go out there and have these these one-off vendors and different relationships that are going to conflict with the ones that you had negotiated through the franchisor. However, it's a very small price to pay. When we start talking about royalties and things like that, man, nobody pays more in royalties than they do in taxes. I promise you. And when you start talking about paying royalties, nobody would agree to pay royalties if they didn't see the benefit on the back end. In other words, you have to make money to be able to pay royalties. And so when we start talking about franchising versus owning your own business, there's so many benefits out there that it really makes sense a lot of times, especially in this day and age when there's franchises in over 40 different industries. It makes a lot of sense to go out and start a franchise over starting your own business. Now, that being said, I am not anti-small business, starting your own startup. I work with those. I am a SCORE small business mentor over the SBA. And what I can tell you is that there are a lot of instances out there where it makes sense for somebody to go out and start a nonprofit or start a startup Or maybe they're in an industry that is fledgling and they're trying to go out there and create something that hasn't been created before or innovate in a new way. And guess what? 10 years from now, maybe they're trying to franchise it. So don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the small business that's doing a startup. I'm just saying that a lot of times there's a better way to do it, especially in an established field. So if you have any questions, if you'd like to have a conversation, I'm absolutely entertain that. Just DM me with the words, what's next? And let's move on to the next stage.